Why is everyone talking about Lethal Company? Every site I go to has clips and posts and memes of this game. Lethal Company has made waves throughout the internet. Don't believe me? Lethal Company is so popular right now, it has a higher congruent player base than Starfield and outsold the latest Call of Duty. Huge congrats to the sole developer Zeekers. I'm sure you must be proud. I can't imagine how proud you must feel that this game has become so popular in the mainstream. Lethal Company is one of the most refreshing games I've seen in a long time. And all cards on the table, I've been obsessed with this game. I've been doing nothing but looking up lore and strategies to get better and adapt at this game. But I also wanted to know what exactly makes Lethal Company so amazing. So today we're going to discuss the good, the bad, and the hopes I have for Lethal Company.
Andrew, you need to know.
Right off the bat, I think one of Lethal Company's biggest reasons for being such a success is the fact that most players are in an age range where we don't have the time to sit down and fully immerse ourselves in the games we play. Most people in my age demographic have resorted to something I like to call quick satisfaction games. Don't understand my meaning? Well, for example, all of your friends may have so many conflicting schedules and responsibilities to, say, make a multiplayer Minecraft world, but they could probably spare an hour or two for some Fortnite Battle Royale. Lethal Company executes this sort of quick satisfaction perfectly. In other multiplayer quick satisfaction games, there's sometimes no satisfaction in what you do. One match of Overwatch or Fortnite can bleed into one another. It doesn't really feel like you're making your own unique moments out of these games. Do you know how many times I've seen people kill on Fortnite? You're never gonna hear an interesting way someone killed another player in Fortnite. Why? Because Fortnite is repetitive and samey. And no disrespect to Fortnite, it's a fun game. When I'm playing with the homies at least. But I don't feel like I'm making any progression in the game, besides progressing a battle pass that I may or may not have bought depending on what recognizable characters are in it. A lot of the games that I'd argue that are quick satisfaction games always have that flaw of lacking any sort of unique progression. In Lethal Company, the treasures you find and sell can be used to make the game easier while still holding on to the same level of chaos the game starts with. What Lethal Company does differently than other games is instead of making the chaos easier to handle, it gives you more ways to handle the chaos.
Look out, you fucking idiot.
Strategy plays a huge part in Lethal Company's success. Even though this game's only in early access, there's so much that you can do to make each and every playthrough feel different. Strategies to collect loot, avoid enemies, optimize communication. There's actual things players can control. There's so many different items and mechanics that the game just gives you and allows you to experiment with. I've had times where I'm in the ship the whole game, guiding players away from danger, and while I'm trying to fend off some monster that's right outside my ship, was swarmed with aliens, and my friend was trying to get back to the ship. There were like 12 different ways I could have handled the situation, and your ability to experiment in these ways is dependent on how well you perform in the game. The chaos will always still be there. Depending on your ranking, you can handle it in much different and sometimes easier ways. Let's compare the level of strategy to another multiplayer horror game, Phasmophobia. A fun game by all means, but when it comes to the ways to strategize, I feel like it's kind of shallow. I played this game for a while and I have to say that it feels extremely repetitive. You earn money that you can use to buy items for the next match, but you need most of the items or you can't win the game. There's a few items that you could play with, but they don't really change the game in any exciting ways besides making it harder for the ghost to appear, and when the ghost isn't there, there's really nothing to do. There's no way to adapt or make things your own. Not to mention the fact that there's always going to be a match where nothing happens because the ghosts are only able to be active when certain environmental requirements are met, but in later game modes those requirements will be disabled, leading to a match where the most exciting thing is your teammate calling the ghost a slur. But in Lethal Company, there's never a dull match. There's no monster running late to work. The environments are fantastically eerie, not to mention the inside areas. I haven't been this scared of an environment since I want to say Alien Isolation, funnily enough. The game has unique environmental possibilities similar to Phasmophobia, but unlike in Phasm, The changes in weather are designed to change the way you tackle a problem, rather than increase your difficulty of achieving your goal. In Lethal Company, rain makes the ground turn into mud, which makes you slower, making you take longer to get back to your ship. Floods are like rain, but after a long time, the water would be deadly. Foggy, well, it's fog, not really much to say about it. Stormy weather makes it hard to hold any metal objects outside, otherwise you risk electrocution. And my personal favorite, eclipses. All the night creatures come out during the day, making it deadly to explore from the get-go. These environmental changes are different than Phasmophobia's, because, well, yes, both increase the difficulty of attaining your goal. Lethal Company has these requirements in order to force you to change your way of playing the game. Maybe risk teleporting your coworker inside the facility so they don't get lost in the fog. Buy a big horn and come up with codes to warn players when the water is getting too high during a flood. All these unique ways to handle a problem are always yours to tackle in your own unique way.
I feel like you could definitely be a Let's Player, Evan, because, like, you have, like, a talent for not being able to stop talking.
Oh, no.
As we're all aware, communication is a vital branch to Lethal Company's success.
I found a gold bar.
Well, aren't you cool? Show it. It's right there. It's right here.
Whether it's just a call-out, status report, or your friend screaming for his life down the hall, communication is required in the game in order to succeed. Personally, I think it'd be really cool for them to add a modification that lets players communicate in simple ways.
But Dingus, there's already simple ways of communication. Man, shut the fuck up!
I mean simple as in actually simple. Sure, we have walkie-talkies, but they take up too much space when I could be getting more of that precious loot. What I propose is a way to communicate with teammates in a way that inspires communication and strategy, inspired by the real-life Morse code clickers. This hypothetical modification would allow the player to hear the walkie-talkie channel but not directly communicate on it, adding something like a ham radio to the ship upgrade section, only being able to respond with a button press when outside the ship, which will be shown on all other players' devices with a small light-up beep. This item would aim to fix the biggest problem I've seen in Lethal Company. There's been so many times where someone will be hiding from a monster or something right around the corner, almost always ending up with that teammate being left for dead because they're not moving. A way for the player to communicate to the ship in a very simplistic way would add a lot more strategy to the game, like groups of friends coming up with their own Morse code, 1 beep for yes, 2 beeps for no kind of thing.
Can someone confirm if the ship is clear? Is ship clear? Confirm?
Adding unique methods of communication such as this would be a great way to incentivize team strategy, and it'd be a higher risk, higher reward because you are not spending money on new walkie-talkies every time someone eats it. I want you to just imagine, you're walking into the ship with a bunch of loot and you hear 3 beeps on your camera for SOS. Any player in the ship will hear the beep and can respond via the radio, having to act quickly to save the teammate's life. The player inside the ship will know someone needs to be rescued, but is unsure who it is. So using the radio, they have to communicate through all devices, trying to discern who needs help.
Randy, are you confirming SOS? Alright, Terry, SOS confirmed.
God, I could just imagine the uses for a device like this, inspiring players to make up their own codes, making every lobby feel different and independent from each other. Ideas like these are exactly what made Lethal Company such a treat to play. The ability to strategize and communicate with players, each lobby having their own unique way of doing so, is what's making this game such a success. There's no one tedious task that constantly has to be executed in the exact same way every single match until you're level 25, and the most exciting part of your Friday night was unlocking Salt in one of your 17 matches of that night. Communication is such an important aspect of Lethal Company that I want there to be so many different ways of doing it. Right now, we only seem to have 2, the walkie-talkie and the horn, albeit I haven't experimented with much, but I feel like just a simple beeping system that would allow the players to come up with their own codes and communicate with their friends in their own unique ways could add so much to the game. All in all, the 2 main factors that have led led to Lethal Company's astounding success are the level of strategy the player has and the level of communication a player is required. Those two blend perfectly with such an amazing atmosphere to make a horror game you're gonna want to come back to. That's gonna do it for this video, boys. I just wanted a nice little chill thing to work on while I'm getting all my ducks in order, as it were. Let me know what you think of these types of videos and if you like my idea for Lethal Company. I definitely want there to be more ways to communicate. I doubt Zeekers will ever see it, but I would be lying if I said I would fucking love to hear his genuine thoughts on my idea. New commentary video should be out sooner than later. Hopefully it's not on any weird guy who got caught doing anything weird. That sure would be fun.